Venezuelan Attorney General Tarek William Saab sent an open letter to Colombian President Gustavo Petro on Thursday in response to Petro's latest statements in social media about Venezuela. In his letter, William Saab expressed his surprise for the Colombian president's remarks and contrasted them with the emancipation ideals for the great homeland that both had shared in the past. The Attorney General also reminded Petro that it was from Colombian territory that mercenaries trained and hired by a foreign company infiltrated into Venezuela to unleash a bloodbath in full view of the Colombian authorities, and that is to this day not a single person that has been detained for those acts. On the other hand, the Venezuelan official let the Colombian president know that more than 1,500 people detained during the violent actions that followed the July 28th elections have been released, and that the prosecutor's office continues to review other cases in order to provide the benefits of the law to those who are entitled to them. Finally, William Saab reiterated that Venezuela has defended democracy, stability and internal peace in an exemplary manner with full respect for constitutional guarantees and human rights. Demonstrators rallied Thursday in the French capital Paris in favor of Palestine and called for a boycott against Israel athletes participating in a basketball game. The protest was held at the Porte de la Chapelle and was organized by pro-Palestinian groups such as Urgence Palestine and Extinction Rebellion. The demonstrators opposed what they term sport washing, or the use of sports events to normalize or improve the international image of the State of Israel. They carried placards with slogans like "We don't play with genocide" and called to cancel the match as a symbolic rejection of normalization with Israel. The basketball match was between the Paris Basket and the Maccabi Tel Aviv. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum responded to statements made by U.S. Senator Marco Rubio in which he insisted that drug cartels should be considered terrorists. The head of state pointed out that declaring drug trafficking organizations as terrorist groups implies many things, and she said that she would only consider the good side of Rubio's statements. In this sense, Sheinbaum welcomed the intentions that, according to politicians, the U.S. State Department has to coordinate alliances with Mexico for the benefit of both nations on security issues. In this context, Sheinbaum pointed out that these same proposals are the ones that the Mexican government has been putting forward and described them as good.
I take Marco Rubio's word for it. In this interview he gave during his ratification in the Senate, he says two very important things, which is what we have been saying. One is that the Department of State favors coordination with the Mexican government, and that is what we have been talking about, and to address the problems of migration, the problems of security, the drug trafficking. Que para atender problemas de migración, problemas de seguridad, de narcotráfico, lo mejor es la coordinación al más alto nivel. The best thing to do is to coordinate with the Mexican government, as well as to coordinate at the highest level, and respecting our sovereignty we can collaborate and coordinate to reduce the criminal incidents in Mexico. La incidencia delictiva en México, para evitar el paso de armas to avoid the trafficking of weapons from the United States to Mexico, and at the same time we can contribute in everything necessary to reduce the fentanyl crisis they are facing in the United States.
On Thursday, in the Palestinian city of Ramallah, hundreds of students from Bisret University protested to denounce the continuous attacks on Gaza and the crimes in the West Bank. The demonstrators demanded an immediate end to the attacks on Gaza while raising the Palestinian flag. In addition, the protesters displayed posters and photos denouncing the genocide perpetrated by Israel against the Palestinians and the territory. Moreover, the students called for an immediate halt to the incursions and bombardments that they have left thousands of martyrs, mostly women, children and the elderly. Yemen's armed forces welcomed the announcement of agreement between Hamas and Israel on ceasefire in Gaza. The advisor to the Supreme Political Council, Abdul Ilah Hajar, expressed that the group is proud and honored by the steadfastness of the support to the Palestinian people. In this sense, Ilah Hajar reiterated the support to Palestine until the end of the Israeli genocidal war against the nation. The high official assured that they will fulfill their promise to stop the offensive against the Tel Aviv regime once the Israeli aggressions against Gaza cease. Venezuelan Attorney General Tarek William Saab sent an open letter to Colombian President Gustavo Petro on Thursday in response to Petro's latest statements in social media about Venezuela. In his letter, William Saab expressed his surprise for the Colombian president's remarks and contrasted them with the emancipation ideals for the great homeland that both had shared in the past.